As the Awakeners Academy commences its evaluation ritual, each student is invited to reveal their rank. The instructor sends them through a magical doorway where a demon heart awaits to measure and reveal both current strength and latent talent for all to see. Most candidates end up classified as worthless E-rank failures. A few barely achieve D-rank and start behaving as if they've already achieved greatness. Relax, my friend. At that point, the Academy's leading prodigy makes his move, the privileged son of a famed guild. Naturally, every gaze follows him as though he's destined to lead the story. His entourage boasts about his future, declaring he'll set new records and rise as the Academy's top intellect. Brimming with certainty, he strolls in and confronts the demon heart, letting his strength surge forth. A roar erupts from the crowd outside. Predictably, his merit blazes on the board, elite D-rank with a shot at S in the future. Cheers break out everywhere. His companions are practically bursting with pride, acting as if he has accomplished the impossible. One friend even ridicules the quiet CCH Chen next in line, mocking him for his presumed failure. C. Chen just ignores it. Calmly, he approaches his turn and enters the assessment like the others. Yet as he draws near the demon heart, a strange tension fills the air. Without activating a skill, the demon heart quivers as if it's encountered its ancient foe. Suddenly, a high D rank flashes on the display. The arrogant prodigy loses his smug air, realizing the modest candidate matched his achievement without effort. Si Chan then tries out an ability not even at full force, just a weak card he absorbed. Instantly, he jumps to C rank. Pandemonium breaks out. Those who once mocked him fall silent. Professors stare, unable to grasp the outcome as Si-chan remains composed. He switches to a superior card, sending the demon heart into a full panic. Everything in the chamber starts to quake. Clouds twist over the school as lightning gathers. The readout sputters to S-rank potential. Professors spring to their feet, recognizing the event as utterly unreal. Suddenly, S morphs to double S, then triple S, and the whole system shuts down. Error, maximum load reached. Alarm replaces astonishment as professors realize the demon heart was never made for beings so superhuman. Now a single question echoes through the academy. Who is Si-chen to possess such unfathomable power? The secret: he isn't just an ordinary student but a regressor. In a former life, the world was overtaken and ruled by demonic forces. Humanity was driven to extinction's edge, cities fell, and nearly everyone perished in the devastation. Shin became the sole survivor, enduring many lonely years fighting in the ruins of civilization. After a lifetime of relentless struggle, he finally made it to face the Demon King himself. But triumph did not come cleanly, leaving no sense of a true win. So Si-chen poured out what strength remained and sacrificed himself, taking the Demon King with him. He believed it was over. Then, sudden blinding light and Si-chen finds himself in a school's infirmary. Stunned, he realizes he should be dead. He rises and gazes out, seeing ordinary people living undisturbed as if tragedy never occurred. Demons are gone, destruction erased, there is no end-of-the-world chaos. Then, it dawns on him he's back 10 years in time during university life. Suddenly, a status window appears announcing full Gluttony integration. That's when he grasps a greater truth. This isn't a peaceful era, it's 3 years before the Demon King's rise and Wrath the First returns. Hells but we, unknown demon kings, walk into the realm of man. Hells but with his doors rebirth, unknown demon kings walk into the realm of man, convinced that besting Wrath First might lock Hell's gates shut forever. This second chance offers him the power to rewrite everything. A moment later, it clicks. The Gluttony interface is unique, lingering before his eyes since awakening. Right then, it flashes up stats like a game. He's at level 1, his attributes are each set to a baseline of 100. Si-chen is amazed because he never saw this before. He always fought with innate power, not statistics. Only a rare 1 in 10,000 can awaken, and his school is meant for these gifted students, known as the National Awakener University. Still, in his former life he hadn't awakened during those years. For 4, he lingered weakest, an easy target for abuse. That explains why he found himself lying in that infirmary bed now. Currently, he holds the Lightning Assassin class, with stars ranking stats like speed and physical power. He naturally wields passive talents, Lightning God and Lightning Blade. The first pumps electricity for tenfold agility. The second forges sharp blades of energy, deals critical blows, and paralyzes struck foes. Sitchin marvels at holding his prior class again. The fresh rush of strength is unmistakable in his body. He suspects yesterday's strength remains. Suddenly, he wonders if he awakened ahead of time and chooses to try the class out. He's in the midst of this when his door swings open and Malong, ranked as an E-rank flower chanter, steps inside. Malong hurries to embrace Sitchin, amazed that he has finally regained consciousness. He checks if he's alright but realizes only he can see the status window as Malong ignores the interface. Malong scans Chen's body and is shocked all injuries vanished, despite yesterday's harsh beating. He questions how Shen is healing so quickly, as if he's an awakener. Apparently, Malong is Chen's university roommate who awakened at school but stayed bottom tier and in the previous life, was killed tragically on the third day of the Demon King's arrival. Now Chen can't hold back a smile seeing his friend alive before him, unharmed as if nothing took place. Knowing he is truly back, Malong shoves him from the infirmary and insists they prepare for tomorrow's rank test. Malong emphasizes this test is vital for graduation scores, even if Chen hasn't awakened. As they stroll the campus, Chen observes the peace and crowds, remarking it's been ages since he saw such vibrant life. Malong gives him a strange look, thrown off by his odd statements. Malong notices him near the playground and recommends they walk by instead of stepping in. Yet Sitchin resolves to act differently this time, wanting to avoid repeating painful history. He realizes he must level up fast, but to do so, he'll need to hunt monsters in demon layers, mostly locked by powerful guilds, leaving almost no opportunities for outsiders. His current stats are all at 100, and he questions how he measures up to other awakeners and creatures. The government regulates power rankings for awakeners and monsters from highest S rank to lowest E. Most students remain at E, while just a few reach D thanks to guild support or talent. His stats suggest his own strength, but he's curious how he'd score if he entered the evaluation. Still, he's certain he now surpasses Malong in power. Suddenly, a ball rockets at them, striking Malong's head and knocking him to the ground. Chen sees it came from distant bullies, those same ones who hospitalized him. Malong panics when he realizes they're facing the boys he hoped to avoid. The group's leader, a burly man with a bothersome face, orders them to fetch drinks. Fearfully bowing, Malong assures the leader he'll get the drinks. But Si Chen stops him, insisting they aren't wrong and the bullies should apologize, hands in his pockets as he addresses them confidently. At just the sight of the big guy, Si Chan is reminded of difficult moments in his past. That man once forced his head underwater, pretending he was helping him find his power. They released Sitchin only after he passed out, with Malong the first to rush to his aid. Sitchin regains his composure and asks Malong why they have to always face trouble from the gang. But as soon as the guy hears him reply, he turns around, itching to hit him even harder. Now, in the present, Sitchin is boiling with anger over what happened in his past life. When he fires back at the guy, his tormentor snaps. Malong panics, his skin slick with sweat, as he nervously asks Si Chen if he's lost his mind and wants to die. It seems the guy is Gongchen, an E-rank flower warrior. Gong strides toward Si Chan, fists hardening with his crew. Si Chun knows Chun only targets the weak, relying on his older brother for protection, though Chun himself's frail. As soon as the other students spot Chun head to Chen, they assume such Chen is getting pummeled again. Everyone considers them the school's most ineffectual pair. Yet Sech Chen doesn't budge as Chang looms over him, demanding he repeat his words. Si Chan tells the guy to leave him and his friend alone, but Cheng loses it and swings powerfully at Si Chan. Astoundingly, Sech blocks it with ease and his strength makes Cheng stumble back. Everyone gasps stunned, no one thought Si Chen had it in him to block Chang's move. They whisper among themselves, wondering how Sech Chen managed it, as he supposedly hasn't awakened. Chun, losing composure, yells at Si Chun, asking if this powerless, unawakened guy wants to provoke him. Shin suddenly smiles wickedly, switching into lightning assassin mode, ready to test his skills on Chung. Malong recoils in disbelief. He had no idea Shin had awakened any abilities. As lightning surges through Shin, Chung prepares, cocooning himself with tough demon armor. Before he can react, Sech Chen closes the gap and clocks him in the face, hand still idly in his pocket. That punch packs enough force to send Chung spiraling toward a wall in the distance. Students erupt in disbelief, shocked Chung was flattened by just one hit. Even Malong can hardly process that the powerful figure before him is actually Si Chen. Chun's face is horribly battered, but he's stubborn, convinced the attack was a cheap shot. Chen bellows at his followers, insisting they're not just spectators. He wants them to join the fight, but his gang senses Shen's fierce aura and fears facing him. Step by step, Sech Chen approaches. Chung rises and throws another punch at Si Chen. But Sich Chen grips his arm and crushes it. Chun cries out in agony as Sech deals a shattering blow to his chest. Chung is hurled back into the wall, his clothing ripped and in tatters. He slams devilishly hard into it and instantly loses consciousness, his form bloodied and ruined. Malong stands speechless and amazed, questioning when Si Chen grew so formidable. After defeating Chang, Shen affirms that he can shift between classes anytime he wants. Despite being a level 1 with the system, he knows he's strong enough to surpass E-rank Awakeners. Yet his true rank is still unclear, and he ponders why his stats haven't risen after beating Chun. A bold impulse arises, so he forms a lightning spear and approaches Chung, ready to end things. Seeing this, Malong and the students panic, pleading with Sen to calm down and not act rashly. Chung, who had been out cold, wakes up suddenly to find a lightning blade at his throat, close to danger. At that moment, a beautiful blonde woman appears, asking Shin to stop since Cheng's suffered enough. She is Ling Yu, vice president of the council, assuring Shin that Chung won't dare oppose him again. Shin releases Chun, curious if Ling Yu is trying to shield him, but he never meant to kill Chung. Nonetheless, he had to make it clear that chasing after him would no longer be tolerated. Meanwhile, Chong's frightened minions stay hidden, deciding never to risk angering Sechin again. Everyone knew them as the school's weakest and poorest. Yet the whole perception of them has changed overnight. Back at the dorm, Malong tells their two roommates that Sitchin awakened, now calling him a mighty lightning assassin. He informs them Sechin took down Chang, so his group will leave them alone for good. Zhang Zhou, an E-rank core mage, doubts Malong's story and demands to know where Shin is. He shouts, questioning why Sai Chen would flee if he's so powerful as Malong claims. Xiang Yu, E-rank flower chanter, sides with Zuo, saying Si Chen must be hiding after being trashed. Malong stays silent as Zuo yells, reminding them all they share the lowest ranks in their year. Zuo points out he is only fourth from last, boasting he's the lead as the room's sole combat nucleus mage. Zuo insists Sechin can't truly be a lightning assassin, highlighting his own recent growth. He may join a club. Xiang Yu notes tomorrow is the final rank exam before graduation review, so things will soon be clear. Later, Gongking, Chong's brother and council president, exits training and meets bandaged Chong. Chung tells his brother Ting he won't rest until avenged, since Sechin humiliated him publicly. Ting calmly assures Chung that he will take care of it all for him. Later, Ting sits down with Ling Yu, who asks about his approach to handling the issue. Ting inquires if Sitchin is indeed stronger than Chong, and she points out he's recruited every elite Awakeners at school. She remarks that others lack Ting's chance to enter demon domains, leaving average Awakener like Si-chan unable to advance. Ling Yu commends him deeply, claiming nobody can really keep up with his rhythm. Meanwhile, Si-chen endures the rain, running while hauling 100 weights to increase the challenge. It's obvious that basic training boosts physical form, and Awakeners max potential ties to their physique, and only a sturdy body can bear powerful, rare abilities. But he realizes that with his current abilities, the road ahead remains quite long. By 2160, Wrath would emerge from the demon lair, slaughtering countless humans instantly. Even Si-chan's sister fell victim. Wrath also unleashed the portal, inviting the other demon kings into the mortal world. With this knowledge, Sitchin decides his first goal is to defeat Wrath, who started all the chaos. Since only 3 years remain before Wrath arrives, Sitchin realizes he must exceed Wrath's rapid growth. Then his phone rings. It's his sister, Si Yun, worried after seeing many missed calls from him upon returning from her contest. Yun promises that if she wins, life improves for them both. Sitchin is so touched he's left speechless, recalling his desperate wish for a second chance after losing everyone before. Yun asks why he's silent, since all she hears is rain falling upon the earth. He tells her it's nothing, yet silently swears to protect his sister whatever happens. Si-chan simply tells her it's lovely hearing her voice, and Yun assures him their next talk will be even better. Late at night, Shin comes back to his dorm, 8 hours since returning to his earlier life. His roommates are fast asleep as he enters the bathroom, slowly realizing he's acclimating to his changing body. He recognizes the main problem is advancing levels, which means braving the demon realms. But guilds hold all the power over demon territories. Aside from the mighty and rich, people lack opportunities to level up. Si-chan drifts to sleep, planning how next to fight monsters. He's unsure what the gift of gluttony does. As he drifts off, a system loads and suddenly thrusts Si-chan into the gluttony system. He arrives in a strange place with a huge looming tower, and confusion floods his mind. Scanning his surroundings, he notices monsters rising from a peculiar, blood-red river around him. Without delay, Sechin switches roles, planning to face the monsters, for he seems to be deep in a demon lair. Though he hasn't figured things out yet, he intends to eliminate the beasts closing in on him. The E-class creatures rush his way, but he dispatches them in a flash. His attacks are sharp and effortless, leaving the foes defeated with ease. Shin feels no fear, certain that his current power makes E-class monsters nothing but trivial. Gathering loot and gaining points, he realizes this world is as genuine as it could possibly be. After slaying enough adversaries, he reaches level 2. Si-chan grins, believing he can level up here. Every stat rises by 5, and Si-chan beams, delighted to face a demon lair on his own. Lost in thought, a monster tries to ambush him, but he swiftly splits it in two, deciding to push his abilities. Si-chan cuts through more enemies, quickly reaching level 3 himself. Si-chan can hardly believe his fast progress, and the system shocks him with the chance to consume the boss monster he conquered. He starts grasping what the gluttony skill truly means. He reaches out to take in the monster's spiritual core instantly. Upon doing so, a new class card manifests right before him. This class grants cold immunity and better defenses in icy areas. Sen is amazed by the card, now knowing he can turn defeated foes into his own classes. Suddenly, it hits him. He now wields the very ability Len Yu once had. It is widely known everyone is born with a single class alone, but it appears he can now maintain 2 different classes at the same time. Yet that's not all. By consuming more monsters, he might gain countless classes. This leads him to question such a wild power and wonder about the meaning of the demon tower behind him. Suddenly, the earth trembles and a suffocating aura stuns him as a figure with demonic twin blades arrives and says cheerfully, "I've waited, glad to see you awake." This person is formidable, body wrapped in bandages, eyes radiating an intense glow. The overwhelming force pins Chun down, signaling imminent danger. He recalls fighting for S-rank stature in a former life, but now he ranks as no higher than D. Worse still, his current foe rivals an S-rank boss, and Sen senses an insurmountable gap in might and power. Numerous thoughts whirl in his mind. What sinister realm he's entered and why an S-ranked beast lurks here. He also wonders how the creature knew his name in the first place. Shin soon comprehends the foe could have ended him instantly. The attacks so far have been mere play. Still, every strike that lands is gentle, carefully avoiding critical spots each time. The opponent tosses him about, then shows astonishment that Si-chan remains on his feet. Si-chan is left questioning if surrender is wanted. The foe suggests reconsidering his options. Offered the chance to guard the demonic tower together, a rare fortune, Si-chan refuses, firmly rejecting life in this cursed place. Before he finishes refusing, a swift sword cut severs his left arm, blood splattering everywhere. With cold stares, the opponent asks if Si-chan doubts he will kill, explaining his patience since only Si-chan can enter gluttony space. Si-chan observes monster energies flowing to the terrifying opponent as his power grows. He warns Si-chan this is the final question. The ground cracks apart, stones rise up, aimed to crush Si-chan. The foe demands he remain in this strange place or face ruin. Instead of yielding, Si-chan's fury surges all the more. Electricity arcs through him as he leaps forward, declaring his intent to slay his adversary. Si-chan weaves deftly between the flying stones, making his move toward the attacker. By carefully analyzing the foe's movements, Si-chan notices every swing has a predictable 0.4-second delay. This small pause lets him read wrist angles, thus predicting and slipping free of every attack. He executes his maneuver, slipping behind the adversary as anticipated. Readying his strongest strike, Sitchin acknowledges he's acting now because his foe's lag after swings gives him an opening. It's just enough time for a critical hit. Sitchin seizes the chance, piercing the opponent's heart with his dagger before he can react. He unleashes the lightning blade, compressing energy for paralysis. Knowing an S rank can't be slain by a D, Sitchin bets the shock will buy him time to escape. Shin leaps back and unleashes his lightning god ability, multiplying his speed tenfold. He flashes across the battlefield, sparks trailing behind as he races for the exit while seconds tick away. Throughout combat, he's seen only one source of light. That must be the way out, so he heads for it. But as he leaps toward the light, it fades from before his eyes, trapping him with the terrifying foe. The opponent drives blades into stone, shaking the ground, and tells Sitchin the exit was an illusion. There's no escape from this realm. The man's anger reaches new heights, darkness pulsing within him, yet he praises Sitchin for spotting flaws so fast. A sudden calm replaces his rage as he tells Sitchin that only he can summon hope. His name, Purgatory Rishasa, an S-rank star warrior, appears at last. Rishasa's aura burns his hood away, revealing a face Sitchin recognizes. It matches Lan Yu, the Demon King's leader. Rakshasa acknowledges Sitchin's ability to stay composed and assess his foe despite the peril. Shin recalls seeing this appearance before, during his encounter with Lan Yu. Lan Yu had effortlessly shifted through elite classes in that fight, overwhelming scene throughout their clash. Among the Demon King's transformations was the very form before him now, horned and intimidating, making Scene wonder if Lan Yu's gluttony overtook this man. With gluttony inhabiting him, the demon lair essentially exists within his own form. Rakshasa admires how shrewdly he unravels the situation, proclaiming that Shin has truly earned the demon layer's legacy. Despite lingering confusion, Shin sees Rakshasa produce the SSS rank Void Key, the sole gateway to the demonic tower, and is told as much. Rishasa explains Lan Yu once absorbed fierce demons, and the most dangerous remain sealed in the tower behind them. He offers Shin the key, instructing him to consume the demons within to become stronger. Shin then asks why Rakshasa is aiding him this way. Rakshasa reveals the demon race has a blurry line between virtue and vice, and how demon kings slaughtered his kin from selfishness. He longed for vengeance. He tells Sitchin this moment for retribution is possible only because of him. Rishasa cryptically adds only Sitchin holds true greatness. Stunned, Sitchin asks to whom Rishasa refers, and he replies that the answers await within the tower. He urges him to venture inside to seek these answers firsthand. As he prepares to depart, Rishasa's form fades, permitting Sitchin to inherit his strength. Shin reacts in startled disbelief, and Rishasa charges Sitchin to remain indomitable and open the tower for conquest before transforming into raw energy. He warns Sitchin that the tower's demons will show him no leniency, but urges him to surpass them all and rule the tower. Rishasa affirms that he must ascend above all and devour every demon king in his quest. Before fading entirely, Rishasa admits no regret in granting his power to Sitchin, seeing his extraordinary resolve. Thus he believes no one is more deserving. Following his consumption of Rakshasa, Sitchin advances to level 10 and is notified of acquiring Rakshasa's twin blades. Sitchin vows to uphold Rakshasa's will. As the transformation completes, his power card is displayed, showing Bone Grip Ruin and Triple Gravity Strike. Bone Grip Ruin siphons vitality from the dead, making it his own. Triple Gravity Strike manipulates gravitational force, attacking foes readjusting density, light, heavy, or overload. With renewed purpose and inspired by Rakshasa's resolve, Sitchin swears to repay their foes' cruelty in kind. At that moment, his roommates shout for him to get up, jolting him awake. He rises and sees that morning has come and his friends are already getting ready for the rank assessment. Sitchin marvels at how quickly he returned to the dorm, finding all his wounds completely gone. He starts to wonder if the previous night's events had simply been a dream. But he then spots the 2 power cards he'd gained from the demon lair gleaming in his status window, proving everything real as even his dreamlike rewards accompanied him back. Having reached level 10 in a night, he begins to speculate about his new rank. Suddenly, Zuo walks up mocking, revealing that Malong spent last night boasting about him. He taunts Sen, asking if he plans to steal his dorm leader role and dares them all to the rank test to prove themselves. Once they've all dressed while heading to the test arena, Zuo reminds them that though they're all E ranks, he's a mid-tier E, unlike their low grades. Chewing his dough, he boasts about the large differences between ranks, claiming he could face 10 low E ranks alone. Zuo, thrilled, wonders if he's qualified for a higher rank since last time. Suddenly, Malong urges Si-chan to excel in the test and aim at least for D rank to scare him. Si-chan nods, ready to try for D. Soon after, they reach the arena to Zuo's surprise, realizing most students already filled the place. Just then, they see Chung's followers approach and start to panic. While the others are worried, Si-chan stands calm and unmoved. Zuo and his friends almost sink from fear until the lackeys bow to Shin, calling him Big Brother. Shocked, Zuo asks why they're suddenly showing Shin respect, and Malong reminds him that he shared all they know about Si-chan. Ignoring those bowing, Shin simply brushes past and keeps walking. Next, he collides with a brash figure, Jang Jan, who says he's heard everything Shin did to Chun yesterday. Jian shouts, demanding if Shin knows who Chun is, enlightening him that Chun is Ting's younger brother. From afar, Zuo and others hide, wondering why John now targets Si-chan. Jian gets closer to whisper that his sharp senses let him detect fighters instantly, yet from Si-chan he senses nothing special. He says instead that Si-chan reeks of being a hopeless loser locked at the bottom. Si-chan undermines him completely by asking if he's some kind of dog, nearly causing Jan to lose his composure. Enraged, Jian tells Shin to repeat what he said. Before Jian can act, Ting steps in, telling him to leave Si-chan alone. Ting explains he investigated the matter and found that Chung was to blame, so the price must duly be paid. Jian retreats as Ting ordered, and he and Si-chan stare at one another with intensity. Just then, an old examiner comes on stage announcing the grade test will soon start. Students should come forward when summoned by number. Ting advises Jian that they should focus on the grading test since he senses Si-chan poses no real danger. Meanwhile, Ling Yu and a peculiar man observe the exam from afar. The man asks if Lingu seeks a promising student, and she reveals that this test holds exceptional intrigue. An hour later, Zuo's name is called and he steps forward to undertake the assessment. He enters the testing portal, determined to push himself and find out if there's been even minimal growth. Normally, candidates are evaluated separately within a uniquely crafted demonic training layer. Within this demonic layer is a heart that absorbs released energy. The participant must unleash all their power before the demon's heart to fully energize it. Energy gathered by the demon heart is relayed by wires to devices, where it's displayed as data on a screen. Zuo gives it everything. When the results are shown, he's revealed as still only a middle E rank. Yet the excitement lies in the revealing of his potential. It finally unveils Zuo's potential, which registers as C rank. Talents with high potential often attract major state interest. However, with only a mid-C rank, Zuo stands little chance. He leaves the room saddened, hoping for better progress. Zuo returns anguished to his friends as Malong tries to comfort him, pointing out their own weakness. They explain that, like him, they haven't reached D grade and are stuck at low C after taking their own exams. They ponder whether anyone may attain a higher grade this year as student ranks are announced. A girl comes out beaming from the test room. She is dank and her potential measures at B rank. Soon after, Jin checks his status. He exits with confidence, now D rank and potential as A. Malong and group are moved to tears as Jin becomes the day's 8th D rank, leaving them at E rank still. The examiners share their amazement at so many D rankers appearing despite their lack of battle experience. This stirs anticipation for the year's combat assessment. Ting is next to be called, with the crowd eager for his results. Everyone already regards Ting as special, given his status as the Imperial Guild's young master. Previously, his first grading 2 years ago marked him as D rank. They wonder how much stronger he's become since. Upon entering, Ting restrains himself, planning to awe everyone at graduation combat with his unveiled might. He intends to become the school's most outstanding student in its records. Releasing his energy into the demon's heart, Ting watches as his scores are revealed on the screen. The system announces he's now high D rank, and his potential is marked as S, truly elite. A surge of excitement sweeps through the crowd, their hands clutching heads in awe since Ting's feat is unprecedented. John joins the chorus praising Ting while CCH Chen stays indifferent. The examiners are stunned and intend to alert their higher-ups. A person awakened with S-rank prospects is truly priceless in the world. With this, it's clear the state will watch him closely and ensure his safety. Moreover, as the guild leader's son, his story promises to capture national attention. The peculiar observer with Ling Yu admits that this year's test is proving extraordinary. He teasingly asks Ling Yu if she anticipated Ting's S-rank and that's why she attended. The odd man is Yuan Long, university principal. Lingu responds that Ting wasn't her sole reason for coming. Truthfully, she awaits Shin's display more eagerly. Right then, Sichjin's name is called, summoning him for his ranking trial. On his way to the stage, John jokes, encouraging him to earn glory for their dorm and to avoid a repeat of an E-rank result. John laughs mockingly, saying if Sichjin ends up E-ranked, his dorm will be an endless source of amusement for all. He claims that Si-chan and his friends will only bring shame during the graduation assessment. Malong summons his courage and tells John not to worry, Si-chen will surely amaze everyone. As he steps inside the grading chamber, Zuo wonders if Sichchen is truly up for it, while the demon eyes change upon seeing Sen. These days, one must impress powerful guilds to guarantee a prosperous path. Speaking of the graduation test, it's run with groups of 10, with full freedom to select your companions. The winning squad wins potential recruitment for all by the Imperial Guild. The exam seeks much more than ratings alone. Meanwhile, Jian assembles members for Ting's squad, gearing up for the upcoming graduation assessment. All 9 outstanding students of the year have joined. Jian's convinced Ting and Cheng will lead the team to victory. The rank test essentially helps pick teammates for your group. As Jen and crew cheer being the largest team, Malong's group broods in the corner, feeling unqualified. Minutes pass and they begin to question why Si-chan has yet to appear from the ranking room. Classmates joke about him, saying his skills are so weak the machine can't sense them. Being among the last to be graded, most are already ready to leave, thinking all the results are final. Jan tells Ting they shouldn't linger and suggests heading elsewhere for some karaoke fun. Ting agrees, but just as they are about to go, the screen flickers, about to display Si-chen's result. When the result appears, everyone nearly faints. Si-chen has achieved a high D rank. Malong erupts in excitement, shouting to everyone that his faith wasn't misplaced. Even Ting and Jian are left utterly stunned at the sight before them. In the assessment room, Sichchen withdraws the energy he was giving the demon heart, triggering an alert, as the system recognizes the demon heart's instability and directs Sichchen to retake the test to properly reveal his capability. Sich realizes he only applied his basic class and is amazed when his stats at level 10 match a high D rank. Choosing differently, he swaps to Infernal Death King, which happens to be the weakest class he has absorbed. He takes the test again. This round the results flash C rank, leaving everyone astounded. Ting and John are in disbelief and John insists the device must be faulty. Even the Presctor are baffled by the shifting ranks, since such an occurrence has never happened to them. Suddenly, the system declares another anomaly and calls for Si-chan to undertake the evaluation again. By now, the demon heart is frantic and Sichchen deduces his remaining classes exceed this, proving his weakest forms are formidable. Sichchen thus changes his class to Rakshasa, eager to explore the depth of his actual abilities. This change makes the demon heart almost burst and clouds swiftly roll in as the crowd begins to wonder what could be happening. Malong and their friends are overcome, convinced their dormitory has produced someone godlike. Immediately the display flickers, revealing an S-rank which sends a shock through everyone present. But the S-rank flashes briefly as error warnings and glitches consume the screen. Suddenly, it jumps to triple S-rank and hints at revealing even more, until it crashes under the overload, showing an exceeded warning. The device bursts into flames and stunned examiners race over, hoping Si-chen is unharmed. Inside, they witness a curious spectacle unlike anything previously encountered. Left in ashes is the demon heart and they puzzle if it collapsed from overuse. Si-chen quietly leaves, alone in his understanding of why it shattered. He realizes he pushed too forcefully until the demon heart was destroyed, yet discovers he managed to absorb it. As an A-rank entity, the demon heart senses power ranks for 100 meters and issues warnings about new dangers. Stepping into the hall, Si-chan activates the demon heart, confirming he now sees the ranks of all people in direct view. Sechin acknowledges the impressive utility, since he can now gauge anyone's strength at a glance. He inspects Ting and notes his actual power is mid-C rank, skillfully concealed from others. Soon the examiners follow with the scorched phantom heart, noting it perished from excessive burden. Due to this, the assessments are cancelled for the day. They argue Si-chen's data is questionable and will report it, asking those waiting to return tomorrow and promising a replacement device. Malong and friends hurry to Si-chen, nearly reverent, ask him what he would like to eat, but he simply asks to return to their dorm. At that moment, Jian bursts in, loudly claiming the machine must be broken since Si-chen couldn't reach Kank by himself. Jian keeps shouting at Si-chan, pressing him about what he'll do now that he shattered the demon heart. Still, he hurls insults while Si-chan wonders if he should silence him for being so annoyingly talkative. Ting suddenly steps forward, telling John to back off because disrespect toward a teammate isn't acceptable. Jan is stunned when Ting calls Si-chan a teammate, barely collecting himself as Ting extends an invitation for Si-chan to join his squad and face the assessment together. Ting adds history's highest score will soon be ours, while Si-chen eyes him with suspicion. Jen panics, knowing Si-chen's entry means someone else must be let go from the team's ranks. He worries about explaining things to his own, as it's common knowledge that joining Ting's crew means securing first place in the final assessment. Jian grows angry imagining Si-chen's possible admission, since many have tried and failed even with bribes. Yet not wanting to oppose Ting, Jian makes a show of friendliness towards Shin. He forces a smile, pats Shin on the back, and offers a warm but insincere welcome to the squad. With no hesitation, Shin knocks his hand away, stating plainly that he's not at all interested in joining. Ting and Jian are taken aback and Jian erupts, insisting they rule the school and Si-chen is foolish to turn them down. Shin coolly replies that whatever their reputation, it doesn't involve him, then departs, telling them not to pester him anymore. As Si-chen leaves, the other students are stunned by his courage to reject the influential council president. Some suspect Si-chen means to climb the ranks solo, considering his test result placed him only at mid-tier C rank. Even so, the students are buzzing with curiosity about how things will play out in the end. Ting then reassures John, saying Si-chen already has his own ambitions sorted. Long, meanwhile, voices disappointment that the pair couldn't join forces, as he had hoped to witness a record-breaking year. Lingyu tells Long it's more exciting now since Ting is privileged and Si-chen's refusal signals open rivalry. Lingyu warns Long that Ting is never an easy opponent to confront. Meanwhile, Jen keeps fuming, convinced Si-chen's recognition only comes from a faulty test result. Ting counters, saying even with a tiny chance, he can't let anyone else threaten his top rank and the test may be correct. Jian claims Si-chen is just a regular student with no combat skills, unlike elites who have secretly fought in demon lairs with Ting, and suggests teaching Si-chen a lesson, but Ting rebukes him for being so small-minded. Jan hurries to apologize as Ting strolls off, not in the mood for singing, and says the team should manage things by themselves for now. Still, he makes it clear to Jan that his actions are his own, unrelated to anything Jan does. As soon as Jian hears these words, he realizes Ting is giving him permission to handle Si-chen at will. 10 minutes later, Jen's informant relays that Si-chen isn't at school. Supposedly, Si-chen decided to head home early. The instant John hears this, he moves, knowing Si-chen is away from school at the perfect place. Meanwhile, Si-chen strolls, lost in thought, wandering city streets and pondering memories of his former existence. He recalls a guild's clash with Wrath inside a demon lair, where the team was utterly destroyed. Soon after, Wrath left the dark dungeon for the human realm, and this sums up all he knows for now. Si-chan crafts a plan to track Wrath's presence in this life. To set his plan in motion, he requires ample funds, so he goes to the Meathil Monster Exchange under the up-and-coming Meathil Guild. The strength of Awakeners relies on their gear, with the exchange as the hotspot for trading and the fastest option for Si-chen's cash. At the counter, Si-chen arrays demon lair monster teeth. The staff member helping him looks unimpressed, eyeing Sitchin in his student uniform. He admits he's never encountered teeth quite like these before. A junior attendant with pink hair identifies the item as loot from an E-rank cloud-based monster. She remarks that the records show these fangs make an E-rank cloud staff or fine powder. The less courteous worker interrupts, dismissing E-rank gear as trivial. He insists that only elite VIP items qualify at his desk, so he ignores lesser finds like E-rank loot. In truth, he worries about his stalled career since few high-level clients visit now. He gets frustrated by the stream of unexceptional customers offering nothing for his ambitions. Resolving to let his assistant Lee handle it, he strolls away, wishing her luck while reminding her of his expectations. Lee quietly calculates Sichen's payout and hands it over, urging him to safeguard the money. The monster fangs fetch 18,000, enough for Sitchin to manage the rent for some time. Lee inquires if he needs further service, prompting Sitchin to unveil a rare greatsword from Rishasa for appraisal. Lee is astounded at the superior quality of the sword, unable to mask her reaction. She confesses she's unfamiliar with it, but it must be at least B rank or perhaps even A rank. The rude staff member hurries back, impressed and claiming he's never encountered such high-grade equipment. As this unfolds, a blue-haired man arrives and confirms the sword isn't B grade, nor is it even A grade. The once discourteous attendant instantly switched to politeness when addressing the blue-haired man as his boss. The boss comments that the sword hails from Purgatory lands and is, in its current form, an S-tier weapon. The staff nearly lose their composure hearing this, and the boss warmly clasps Sichan's hand, honoring him as a VIP. He invites Sichin to the VIP suite and assures Shin he may express any special requests he might desire. Shin soon realizes that he knows the boss from his former life. His name is Ching Zai. Once in Zai's private room, he inquires about Sichan's intentions for the weapon and hears that he desires 1 million. Zai is taken aback that Sichan would offer the sword for just 1 million when its S-rank status means it's worth much more. Z notes with excitement that this blade could spark wild bidding wars, making clear its true value. Yet Sechchen clarifies he only wants the sword as collateral for a 1 million loan, which he will repay in 1 month. Zai is startled to hear Sicchen plans to risk an S-rank weapon for a loan, sensing it's too bold for just any student. Because Sicchen doesn't mean to sell it, Zai now suspects he wishes to wield it later, pondering if he's a hidden noble. Clearly, Sichan is no ordinary person. Sen promises Z he'll pay back the loan in a month with 10% interest the next month and asks Z's thoughts. Before replying, Z dismisses Lee. Z correctly deduces that Sichan studies at National Awakener University and is about to graduate soon. Gi shares his knowledge that graduation combat trials occur yearly, with this year's falling a month away, precisely when the grand prize is 1 million. Z therefore assumes that Sichan fully expects to win first place in the upcoming graduation trial. Gi observes that while Sichan could have just waited for the prize, he took the risk of pawning an S-rank item for cash. However, Gi ultimately offers Sichan 1.5 million in cash right then and says there's no interest, it's a gesture of goodwill. Shin is amazed and Z assures him all is confidential. If Sichin seeks further deals, Z wants him to come to his group and promises peak privileges. Sichin is deeply impressed that Z deduced so much about his situation from almost nothing. Despite understanding Sichin's tight spot, Z offered better terms for partnership instead of exploiting the moment. Shin sees clearly why Z was able to grow his group into the world's #1 marketplace in the future. Sichan concludes that forging trustworthy alliances is the only way to eventually defeat Wrath. Z prepares the mana contract and sends over the agreed funds to Sichen's account. At that moment, Z inquires what weapon Sichen intends to wield in the assessment now that his S-tier weapon is pledged. Z informs Sichen they have plenty of alternate weapons on hand for him, though none are of S-rank caliber. Shin surprises Z, Lee, and the impolite employee when he calmly says it's unnecessary. He reveals a second blade and tells them he still has another weapon on him. After Sichin departs, they honor him, and Z instantly names Lee supervisor for serving Sichan best, making the rude attendant remember this lesson well. Suddenly, Sichjin pauses and tells Z there's something he needs to purchase. After a while, Sichjin gets out of a cab at the train stop. He reflects that financial hardship caused the greatest struggles in his previous existence. Once he graduated, none of the guilds wanted him, so he did simple labor solely to pay for a place to stay. He and Yun endured a life filled with difficulties. Yun was offered a spot at the International Central Academy of Arts, but she tore up the invitation, saying it was too distant. Yun tells Shin, "All I wish is to remain with you forever." She did this to avoid being a burden. Shin then wonders why Yun hasn't left the station yet. He suddenly hears his sister behind him, who reminds him to always wait for her by the exit, not the entrance, if he picks her up. Yun asks if her brother is exhausted from working too much. Upon seeing her alive, Sichun stands stunned until Yun teases him, after which he hugs her. Si-chun beams with joy, finally reuniting with his sister after 7 long years apart. Yun nearly loses her breath from the tight embrace, then tickles him and leaves her bag in his hands. Yun notes Si-chan's odd behavior lately, jokes that maybe he confessed and got refused. He says no, and she suggests it's time to head home. As they stroll, Si-chan is charmed by Yun's glowing smile, vowing nothing will harm her now. Meanwhile, Jaein and cohorts already prepare a trap, knowing Sichjun's only route home. Jan coldly tells his group to attack Sichjun without mercy, wanting him to pay the price for defying him. A henchman warns Jaein they've brought too many council members and worries they might go too far. Jaein admits once planning just to punish Sichjun, but now finds his attitude unbearable. John wants him so badly hurt that he can't compete in the graduation in 2 weeks, seeking to utterly disable him. John brags about his cruel plans because, as a top-level cloud assassin, Si-chen is a high-profile target at school. At the same time, Yun tells Sichchen his unusual behavior may be from the graduation exam stress. Yun tries uplifting her brother, telling him he must endure as he once encouraged her. Yun remarks that life is long, and with patience, opportunities will find their way to him. She goes so far as to sing for her brother, hoping to inspire him with her melody. Shin quietly marvels at how perceptive she is. In one glance, she sensed something had changed in him. He realizes his sister has no clue about his awakening and assumes they are still in their humble life. Deep inside, Yun believes her brother feels uneasy around her simply because she is a girl. At the same time, Jaein and his crew remain in hiding, shocked when a girl appears at Shin's side. With vile intent, Jaein claims this situation is ideal, given the cameras don't watch this alley, giving them free rein with Yun. Suddenly, Si-chan senses the wicked energy from the crew. He swiftly realizes it's the student council. Si-chen is stunned they would really dare target both him and his sister in such a bold act. Sichchen takes out his earpods, hands them to Yun, and tells her there's a song she'd truly enjoy. Yun feels surprised by her brother's interest in music, but she doesn't oppose his choice. She senses that listening might lead her to a deeper knowledge of her brother's inner world. As Yun loses herself in rhythm, oblivious to threat behind, Si-chen advances toward the council. The council rushes at him, but Si-chen switches to his lightning assassin mode, readying himself to fight. A memory strikes. He lost his last family in another life and only reunited with her after his return. Si-chen is consumed by fury, as this precious reunion is threatened by senseless violence. The first attacker approaches and is met with a head kick, sending him crashing to shock his petrified allies. But by then, it's already over. Si-chen takes down the group with punishing blows, showing no leniency. As Shin fights with vigor, Yun is lost in the music, unaware of her brother's battle. Another tries to strike back, but his arm is twisted in a terrible way, stopping him cold. Agony fills his scream, and as tears stream, Si-chen lands a fierce punch on his face. The blow sends him crashing into 2 others, while Jaein panics because this wasn't in his plans. Jaein never imagined Si-chen had such force, but there's no escape anymore. They must face the consequences. Si-chen heads towards him as Jaein tries to defend, boasting nervously of his own name. Yet a punch disfigures Jaein's face in a spray of blood, erasing any confidence he had. The strike flings him far, the powerful impact sending him reeling through the air. Before he crashes down, Sitchin intercepts him, delivering another punishing head strike that nearly breaks him. Jun's teeth scatter from his mouth, but that's barely a concern after slamming his head against the wall. With cold fury, Shan brandishes the knife Jian dropped, demanding if he's truly unable to hear or think. Jay's tears fall as it dawns on him that Psych Chun's diagnosis was real. His pride may now cost him his life. He mutters apologies to Shin, but Shin commands silence, warning even a whisper will be his end. Sechen's unwavering stare convinces Jen that Sichen speaks nothing but the truth. Sichen's intense aura leaves Jan doubting whether Shin is just another ordinary student. Next, Shin insists Jian carefully remember every word he is about to share. Shin warns him sternly that neither he nor his gang are to ever approach his family again. He tells John that if his sister even glimpses him, they'll all be in mortal danger, no exceptions. After his final warning, Scene leaves the scene and quietly joins his sister, still absorbed in the music. The tune is so moving that tears begin to quietly form in her eyes. The music opens old wounds, making her feel her brother has endured hardships she can't see. As she's about to call for him, she turns to see her brother with a gift box, saying, "This is for you, Yun." Yun opens the box to find a monolithic drawing pen and is amazed. It's the latest release. In astonishment, Yun exclaims it's worth over 10,000 and questions her brother about the money's origin. She studies the pen, debating if it's wise to keep something this costly. Without her knowledge, her brother swore to protect her by any means necessary. Elsewhere, Jian and his friends huddle beside the trash, softly pleading for mercy. When Yun arrives home, she tests the pen and is amazed as it draws images out of the air. Shin rejoices seeing her happy, while he himself tastes the egg noodles their sister has prepared. After the meal, Yun gently reminds him of the rent, warning against reckless spending. Sitchin surprises her by revealing he's already settled the rent for the whole year. Yun's shock is clear, and Sikin adds he earned extra from collaborating with a friend. Even so, his sister remains skeptical given her brother's reputation for dishonesty. Still, she cherishes her brother's newfound joy, a sight long missing from her world. Yun draws nearer to her brother to comfort him, reminding him not to strain himself no matter the situation. Later, Ting learns about John's condition. To his surprise, 60% of John's body is fractured, and even their finest healer says a month's recovery is impossible. Ting comments he couldn't have guessed Jian would pursue Si-chan, only to end up defeated. A subordinate informs Ting that, given the events, Jian will have to miss the graduation evaluation. Ting responds that this doesn't bother him. It just means they're short one weak link with mediocre abilities. Just then, Ting's uncle, Gong Xuan, arrives. Juan, the university's employment director, shares the verified test results, confirming Ting as C rank and the school's second highest ranker. Huan adds that Ting's father has invited the Alliance's vice chairman to witness his graduation, so they can't allow anyone to overshadow him. Huan is ready to intervene, but Ting reassures his uncle, asking if he actually believed he used all his power in the last test. Ting assures Huan there's no need to worry. He'll prove he's the true strongest at the combat trial. That night, Si-chen comes back to his dorm after training for 100 km. Si-chan feels at ease now that his financial issue is settled, and expects to launch his real plan after graduation. Yet his next goal is to win the 1 million scholarship at the graduation assessment to repay his loan to Zai. Si-chan is determined to honor the agreement with Zai, since he has many future questions for him. Si-chan lies on his bed thinking about the fast-approaching assessment in less than a month. He chooses to rest and grow stronger in the dream layer as many times as possible before then. Entering the dream layer, Si-chan proceeds straight to the tower. His test proved his weakest class achieved C rank, but the Rakshasa, his mightiest class, didn't show its rank. Though Rakshasa is S rank, he can't access its full power yet, unsure what level he can actually reach. So the ranks of his Lightning Assassin and Rakshasa classes remain unknown. Nevertheless, he'll attempt to find out while in the tower. Using a key, he unlocks the passage to the next level. He wonders about the tower's setting and on entry is shocked as Sen collapses, overwhelmed by crippling gravity. He realizes the floor is a fallen star with gravity 10 times stronger than Earth's. Since the entry door has disappeared, he knows he must defeat the boss to escape, using, at best, 30% of his strength in these harsh conditions. Si-chen understands he must adapt swiftly to survive on this floor. Suddenly, a phantom lion ranked B warrior appears. Shin changes to his lightning assassin class, striking at the beast as it leaps, yet misses. He senses his body weighing him down, feeling he must end this swiftly before his strength is gone. Si-chen chases after the lion, trying to strike a lethal blow, but the increased gravity hampers his speed. He worries that his assassin skills are nearly useless while the lion moves with grace and freedom. Si-chen ponders if the creature before him shows the true power of monsters inside the Purgatory Tower. Suddenly, the beast bites his arm, but before it's shattered, he shifts into the Rakshasa's class quickly. To his surprise, he learns each class has distinct strengths. Only warriors can stand firm in such brutal close combat. Using the power of the Rakshasa, he tears free and slams the mighty lion down with a blinding punch. He boosts his strength to its peak, letting the crushing gravity aid his power for what's needed. Si-chen multiplies his punch by 60 and unleashes a devastating blow, splintering the ground along with the beast. Almost drained of all energy, Si-chen manages to end the creature with the fiercest strike he could muster. Exhausted, Si-chen drops flat on the floor, levels up to 11, feeling fatigue pulse through him. He's given a star, understanding that these stars symbolize increased abilities, multiplying his core stats. The Purgatory Rakshasa has more stars, making its power boost greater. He sees it might outclass the assassin. Si-chen is shocked that defeating a B-rank beast took all he had. Both classes haven't crossed the B rank yet. It clicks, the system didn't show a devourable mark after the kill. Si-chen realizes with a grimace. The next floor's door is shut, a sign that killing this beast wasn't enough since it wasn't the floor's boss. His dread is proven real when a portal bursts open and phantom lions flood in, eager for him. In the blink of an eye, another lion seizes him, sinking its fangs deep into his shoulder. As he struggles to break loose, the pack swarms him, their claws cutting deeply over and over. He finally grasps Rakshasa's warning. Opening the door brings never-ending agony into the arena. As the phantom lions attack without pity, Si-chen recalls Rakshasa's words. He has to withstand every ordeal. They keep ripping at him until he jolts awake in life, gasping fiercely for breath. He recognizes that in dreams, sensations feel every bit as genuine as those in waking reality. He knows that true strength requires real struggle. His solitary challenge for conquest is only beginning anew. Later, students gather in the auditorium for forming teams for graduation combat. Juan sits in charge. Students learn this year brings new rules as top officials will observe the assessment. Unlike before when teams had no rules for size or rank, now groups must have 5, one being at least high E rank or higher. This leaves the crowd questioning if things will become more entertaining. Yet, it seems someone has other plans. Suddenly, Jan informs the class that the test instructions have already appeared on their wristbands. He urges everyone to review their bands and finalize their teams right away. They all eagerly check their messages. At that very moment, Malong spots something unusual. On the data panel, Si-chen is labeled as only an E rank, the lowest level. Everyone is stunned by this revelation, since Si-chen had originally scored a C rank on the test. Many instantly assume the earlier result was a fake, blaming the error on a demon heart malfunction. Given what's at stake, it's clear that no one would want to team up with him for such a vital assessment, not wishing to be slowed down by weak links. The others begin taunting him, pointing out his refusal of Ting's earlier proposal. However, Ting understands that his uncle has orchestrated these strange events. Juan smiles cruelly, intent on teaching Ting that power rules, determined to keep unqualified foes away from his nephew. All the students gather around Ting, trying to persuade him to pick them, boasting about their accomplishments. One pleads desperately to even be Ting's loyal follower, highlighting people's eagerness to join his group. Chun steps in to guard the team, insisting there's space for just one more member, telling the rest to back away. After 30 minutes, Ting's team is complete as other groups around them do the same. Meanwhile, Sen and his allies are left on their own, unable to join a team. Zuo cries out in distress, realizing their team only has 4 and regulations demand at least 5 members. Zuo starts to fear they'll miss the assessment simply due to their inability to complete a team. Malong observes that the entire thing seems suspicious, Chen shouldn't be at the very bottom. Xiang Yu proposes that their dorm could be the target of some scheme. It's known this final exam is the chance to show skill and secure promising job prospects. For the assessment, monster numbers in the demon lair are based on team size, but bigger teams don't guarantee high scores. Still, even if rejected by Ting, the students refuse to pair up with those considered too lowly. Among them, he, Malong, and Yu are thought to be the weakest E ranks in school. Suddenly, another group appears inviting Zuo, urging him to join so he doesn't lose eligibility for the exam. Witnessing this, Shin realizes they are on the verge of being excluded and may lose their chance to compete. To everyone's surprise, Zuo politely declines, saying he won't abandon his friends as they've promised to stick together. Even Chen is taken aback when Zuo turns down the guys, who rudely tell him to do as he likes because he'll soon regret it. Soon, nearly everyone forms a team, leaving Malong and his group of underachievers behind. Even needing just one more member, they can't find a single willing person to join them. Chen glances back at Jan and notices he's classified as a C-rank warrior. He suddenly remembers Jan shares a surname with Ting, hinting at some connection. Chen wonders if Jan sees him as a threat to Ting, realizing those with influence can do as they please, but Sean is unfazed as he readies for the graduation test. Sen loses his temper and shifts to his lightning assassin form, set on taking an unpopular path. When bolts spark through him, everyone feels something unusual is unfolding. In truth, there are ways beyond tests for someone to display their ability. This is because Awakeners schools follow traditions that help students refine their class mastery. Students may challenge each other one-on-one to prove their skills, though most decline. But Chan is quite certain Ting will accept the challenge. Shin is ready to initiate a challenge when Lingu enters, asking Chan if her spot is still open since she'd like to join. Lingu shares her wish to join this year's assessment and reveals she reached Dank in middle school, so she's unlikely to hold them back. The sight of her entry stuns the students because Ling Yu is not just any ordinary girl. Even Chun loudly demands to know what exactly she's trying to pull. It turns out Ling Yu is an exchange student and the students are shocked she'd joined their assessment, aware of her enigmatic reputation and obvious talent. Even Jan panics at the sight, telling Ling Yu that as an exchange student, she isn't really qualified to take part in their assessment. He adds that because Lingu transferred, she's not taken a rank test, nor has he seen any record, saying it breaks the rules. Out of nowhere, L materializes by teleportation, leaving everyone in awe as he begins to speak. Long supports Jan, emphasizing that Lingu is just visiting and so can't take part. Shin is stunned, knowing the principal as a warrior but not as someone with teleportation power. Long warns Ling Yu that her participation would upset fairness, because only genuine skill should determine success. Lingu unsteadily concedes while Sitchin tries to view their ranks, but the demon heart can't reveal them. All that shows is a giant question mark. Full of approval, they agree with Long, stating their school's renown comes from strict adherence to rules. Long then states the university's aim is to nurture elite awakeners, providing a top platform to present themselves and ensure a steady flow of talented awakeners to the world. He adds the graduation test is a decades-old tradition and marks a major milestone for each student. He questions how the school would be accountable if a student loses their chance due to some irrelevant reasons. Upon hearing this, he grasps that Long is aiming the remark at him. This surprises him since Long rarely meddles in school issues. He starts to wonder if Long's recent actions are all because of Si-chan. At that moment, he opts to back down, sensing that arguing with Long would only lead to trouble. With that, he accepts that his support for Ting ends here since top students have already formed their teams. This leaves Si-chan with weaker partners, but he remains sure Ting can win. Bowing, he agrees with Long and concedes that the placement office's neglect left some students out. Juan amends the instructions, saying teams with less than 5 or without high E rank can register, opening the graduation combat test to all. With this news, Sen's group teams up, and Zuo cheers as they finally qualify to compete. Malong encourages him to accept the captaincy, and Long quietly notes to Ling Yu that he's puzzled by her strong interest in Xichen. On one side stands the school's mightiest team led by its strongest, and opposite are Sech Chen with his 3 less skilled teammates. Long finds himself intrigued to see which demon lair they will select and how high they can score. When teams are finally formed, the old examiner invites everyone to choose the demon lair they wish for. Suddenly, he's notified that one team has already selected, surprising him with their swift choice. Everyone is taken aback finding it's Sichan's team, but the bigger shock is Sech Chen's pick. Even his teammates shout their disbelief. Yet Sichan stays completely calm. It turns out the graduation combat trial is students' first time co-forming teams to clear actual demon lairs, collecting points by defeating monsters. Completion means 10 points with every living monster subtracting 1. Killing the lair boss gives 20 points, none for failure. Finishing in an hour brings 20 extra, after that 1 point drops every 5 minutes over. Simply put, Devil's Cave levels differ in difficulty and scoring. F rank gives a 1.5x boost, E rank doubles it. The best score in an F rank is 75 points. But with an E rank lair, it's possible to achieve a perfect 100-point score. It's rumored the team that achieves the top score earns a prestigious Empire Guild invitation. The MVP also snags a guild manager role plus a million bonus. The highest ever was 90, won by the Empire Regiment's present leader. This shows E-rank lairs are tough, needing at least 3 D-rank Awakeners to complete a raid. Yet everyone thinks Ting could break the school record this year, but suddenly sees Sichen's team picked a D-rank demon lair. Still, his teammates need to agree before they can truly accept the challenging choice. Meanwhile, his friends are shocked and ask Sichen if he's lost his mind choosing something so risky. Zuo clutches his head, confused about how he ended up with someone acting so irrationally. Zuo wonders if it's too late to quit, while Malong quickly asks Sichen if he knows he picked a D-rank demon lair. Sichen reassures everyone that he is fully aware and has deeply reflected on this decision. To everyone's surprise, Ting decides to pick the same rank, unwilling to be outdone. Remarkably, Ting's teammates accept immediately, while Sichen's group struggles with disbelief. The spectators agree that this year promises exciting battles ahead. Still, they all think Sichen is delusional, picking a rank far beyond what he can actually manage. They believe Sichen and his crew expect to rank last, so they act however they please. A member of Ting's team argues that Sichen's group would quit, saying such teams break up easily, which is sad. Malong observes things closely and sees Sichen's fierce resolve, marveling at his growing presence. After weighing it all, Malong joins Sichen, saying, "We've survived 4 years, I'll stick by you to the end." They realize they're already last in rank, so exploring a D-rank demon lair holds more promise. Zuo, frustrated, yells that everyone deserted him, even though he's supposed to be the dorm's leader. He decides on the spot to join, choosing immediate loyalty instead of dwelling on any risks. All team members affirm the decision and Sichen, apologetic, admits he chose D-rank for a shot at MVP. Still, he rallies them, urging they set a record now that they are on this ambitious road together. Suddenly, Ting appears telling Sichen that MVP title will be mine. Right before everyone, Ting boldly says, "Only one can be school's strongest, and that's going to be me." Even Ling Yu is astonished, admitting she's never seen such determination from Sichen before. Still, she's relieved their rivalry is finally out in the open. Long remarks that being young is wonderful, free of the fears that adulthood often brings. Ling Yu tells Long that Sichen was bold to pick D-rank, saying, "Even at C-rank, soloing it is near impossible. Though D-rank offers triple points, it's much harder than facing an E-rank demon lair." She feels Sichen hasn't chosen the best strategy, given his team's current capabilities. Long points out that with just 2 weeks left, it's unrealistic to expect huge improvements in a short time. He can only hope Shin and the others will perform well. Soon after, Sichen makes his roommates do daily runs with him. Exhausted and unaccustomed to this, they start voicing their complaints. Malong shares that others are using the function rooms to practice elemental power and fighting simulations, and doesn't understand why Si-chan insists on physical workouts. Everyone concurs, saying their final exam isn't an endurance challenge, so they don't see the benefit of these runs. Si-chan tells them that at this time, practicing elemental abilities or simulated fights won't count for much. Ultimately, he calls that sort of training theoretical. He then makes it clear that entering the demon layer will require more than textbook knowledge and skill sets. They'll need instinct. Sen explains that in the demon layer, stamina, burst power, and quick reflexes, what they are now training are what refine their instincts. He notes that the school's training technology only goes so far. What's truly beneficial is true combat in a demon layer. But realistic opportunities like that are out of reach for ordinary people such as themselves. He says those who are privileged, like Ting, use their edge to keep advancing and preserve their status at all costs. From birth, these elites have had access to things others only dream of. At this very moment, Ting is raiding demon layers with his squad. Panicked, Zuo demands to know what people like them are supposed to do in this situation. Si-chan replies that their goal is to gain the top score and enter the Empire Guild. They need to outperform those with advantages, since the final exam is their sole shot to take the lead. Si-chan confesses this is his greatest chance to surpass others as well. He promises his team he'll try his best to secure victory in the graduation test, just as he said he would. Fueled by his words, the team dives into training with commitment, never missing a day of workouts. Meanwhile, Ting fully dedicates his time to training inside the demon layers. Despite daytime practice, Si-chan fights monsters at night in the dream layer, reaching level 16 just a day before assessment. Eventually, assessment day comes as students file into the arena for the event. Each team receives a drone, which will stay with them throughout their time in the demon layer. Prepared for the test, Si-chan's team partners with Si-chan. The drone instructs everyone on wearing the right gear and wristbands. Over at administration, Long greets Ting's father, Gong Lin, the Empire Guild's co-founder. As soon as the students see Lin, they're awestruck by his impressive reputation. Yet they spot another man in the car behind and wonder curiously who he might be. As Long and Lin approach to invite him out, a courteous figure exits the vehicle, revealing himself as Carl Keendish, vice chairman of the World Guild Alliance. Seeing this, the students are stunned. It's an extraordinary event for the vice chairman to visit their school. This moment becomes unique. Meeting two important leaders is rare, and the students grasp why the area was cleared. Currently, the Guild Alliance is the world's top power, so the school's ability to attract their focus is a big honor. Long informs Carl that the broadcast is about to start and suggests heading inside. Juan says that 184 students are taking part in the final assessment, split into 28 squads this year. Out of those 28, 23 chose Frank Demon Layer, 3 picked E-Rank Cave, and 2 chose D-Rank Demon Layer. The Alliance's secretary remarks with surprise that any team chose the D-Rank Demon Layer at all. She states D-Rank Caves are risky even for pro teams and asks if the dangers have been made clear to students. Jan reassures Secret that the hazards were explained, adding most students are still in the lowest E-rank due to inexperience. They can generally manage common creatures found in an F-rank cave. Despite that, he admits facing a boss monster will be tough. Juan notes a boss's power surpasses other foes of its rank. Because of this, students must give their all to conquer an F-rank lord. But things are much tougher inside an E-rank demon cave. He clarifies that every E-rank monster is as strong as an F-rank boss. As he details this, the E-rank cave teams panic since reality exceeds their hopes, stating such raids are nearly impossible for students. Sigrid then inquires about protections for students should they face danger. He assures Secret that students are highly valued, so members from the Empire Guild Regiment are watching every demon cave. He adds the guards will act at once if any dire threat appears. He also explains that the students' wristbands allow teleportation, so anyone who wishes to quit will be promptly transported out. Upon hearing this, Secret is amazed. Some teams still picked harder caves and has to admit the school truly breeds talent. Secret confesses excitement to watch their skills, privately anticipating how long Si-chan and his crew will last. He observes them on the monitor, expecting Si-chan's group to leave the cave swiftly. Meanwhile, Si-chan's team is sent into the Cloud Forest, a chilly, inhospitable wasteland. Soon, they notice eerie monkeys watching them, shocked to learn these are ghost bat monkeys, classified as D-rank foes. Si-chan informs the team the monkeys are adept at coordinated aerial strikes and must be closely watched for sudden dives. Just as the group turns, the monkeys attack. Si-chan instantly warns they're coming and the trio dodges, surprising themselves. They realize their training was worthwhile, but by then, Si-chan has effortlessly defeated 3 monkeys alone. Si-chan advises the group to focus on safeguarding themselves since they can't handle the monkeys right now. He urges his teammates to let him handle things, and suddenly another attack descends upon them. Instinct allows them to dodge, and at last Zuo understands why Si-chan made them train for quick reflexes and speed. The intent was self-defense, never to support Si-chan directly. Zuo is amazed that after leading the dorm for so long, he now depends entirely on Si-chan to see him through graduation. Zuo watches spellbound as Si-chan effortlessly slays more monkeys. Regardless of how many monkeys swarm, each eventually gets dispatched. At first, Zuo doubted Malong's claim that Si-chan became powerful. Face to face with the display, Zuo admits Malong spoke true. With this prowess, Si-chan seems far from a typical student. Zuo now regards Si-chan as a seasoned fighter, but wonders when Shin grew so dependable. There remains only one conclusion for Zuo: he has been left behind. Suddenly, another monkey leaps down. As you alert everyone, Zuo, angered, grasps the creature and urges his peers not to rely solely on Si-chan. He insists this assessment isn't just for Si-chan, since they are all in this together. Inspired by Zuo's words, you channel power to ensnare the monkey with your vines. Yet the monkey breaks free with force, throwing Zuo to the ground in a sudden burst. You are stunned at this creature's power to escape your grasp. Before despair sets in, Malong freezes the beast and suggests a coordinated attack since it's slowed. You use your combo technique to restrain the monkey. Zuo then launches fireballs, leaving heavy marks but not defeating it, so he continues. Soon, you warn Zuo you cannot restrain the monkey any longer. Malong tells Zuo he's at his limit, prompting Zuo to unleash everything into a massive fireball which he rains down. The resulting blast is immense, with shockwaves pushing the team backward. When the smoke settles, the assistant's drone commends them for defeating a ghost bat monkey. The trio wishes to celebrate yet are far too drained to stand upright. Collapsing into the snow, Zuo peeks at Si-chan and jokes it was easy to dispatch the monkey. But when he glances back, Si-chan, splattered with blood, grins at Zuo and praises his effort. The assistant drone announces the cave is cleared of monkeys. Meanwhile, Juin is completely overwhelmed, caught off guard by these unexpected turn of events. He is stunned that inexperienced students managed to defeat a D-rank monster far above their skill. At the same time, Long and Lin remain completely absorbed by the ongoing battle. Just then, Carl chimes in, praising Si-chan's amazing display and hinting that Si-chan seems oddly familiar. Carl declares he'll remember Si-chan's name, and this alone is enough to drive Lin to distress. Xuan sees Si-chan getting all the attention and swiftly shifts the focus to Ting's group, who picked Dank as well. He notes that Ting's group has advanced to the heart of the cavern. Sigret agrees their teamwork is smooth, almost like a seasoned pro raiding party. Carl watches a bit too, remarking the graduation class is quite capable this year. He is pleased by their growing interest, yet there's something else he intends to do. Within Ting's cave, their foes are toxic, spore-laden mushroom beasts. The squad moves in unison to bring the monsters down efficiently. The healer tends wounds while the tank does his part, keeping the creatures distracted. Ting steps in to deliver the finishing blow once the monsters are held in place. Ting's group handles these creatures easily since they are the same foes from training. They appreciate being under Ting's leadership, crediting his uncle's influence for their smooth progress. With this momentum, the group feels confident they'll win. Afterward, Ting calls them to move and face the biggest threat. Meanwhile, Scene's crew arrives at the summit and spots a huge D-rank ice ghost ape ahead. The beast is so massive that Zua admits a blow from it could end him repeatedly. The giant gorilla, busy with bat monkeys for lunch, notices the group watching it. It instantly abandons its meal and charges them. The others panic and run, but Sechin remains bold. Sichchun leaps and strikes the beast's face, then cleaves it with a lightning blade as its midair. Malong and the rest are utterly astonished as Shin once again accomplishes this with little effort. But Sichen is underwhelmed, finding the ape's experience yield quite paltry for such a grand title. What's more, its spoils are lackluster, and Si-chan is pondering this when Zuo cries out about something. Turning, he sees his teammates sprint toward a tree hollow crammed with stacked monas. The gems are so large that the trio imagines the fortune awaiting them. Zuo reaches out, eager to claim the glittering stones. Before Si-chen can speak up, it's all over. As soon as they lay a hand on the stone, it releases a frigid surge that saps warmth from everything. Even the helper drone is frozen solid and cut off from broadcasting. It was part of the design, and he's pleased they fell into the snare. Stroking his mustache, he muses on Sichchen's trial's end. Carl then observes the students are in peril and fast agrees to evacuate them. Long interjects, urging restraint and suggesting the students be given more time. Lin and Jan are stunned, but Long clarifies their wristbands track them. For now, signs of distress are absent, so only they, not the observers, choose to quit. In the cavern, all fall victim to the frost except Along. This happens because he's a cloud type and tolerant to cold. Their survival depends on him. Suddenly, he hears sinister laughter overhead and notices a menacing creature glaring down. This creature turns out to be the real ruler of the demon cave. Malong panics since he's seen this fiend before, an ice-controlling cloud mage in the archives. It's a vicious being that torments its victims, the Frostbone Skeleton King. Malong realizes the earlier ice attack was the king's ploy and decides fighting alone is impossible. He dashes to seek Sichchen's help, the only hope against a C-rank foe. Just as Malong reaches Sichchen, the Frost King's spear strikes his heel, sending him crashing down, wounded. Writhing in agony, Malong hears the Frost King's wicked laugh. Malong's wristband alerts him, offering a forfeiture. He rejects it and begins to free Sechin from ice. He releases cleansing power to nullify the freeze, praying Sichchen breaks loose for their survival. Yet again, the Frost King stabs his arm with another icy lance, sending jolts of pain. He collapses under the assault, bringing the rescue spell to a halt. While he struggles in torment, the Frost King mocks him with laughter. The Frost King readies more icy spikes to end it. His wristband warns of severe blood loss and suggests he withdraw. Nonetheless, Malong defies the warning, recalling past lows and clinging to his chance at redemption. Malong endured neglect, ridicule, mistreatment, and cruelty. He reflects on the life-threatening risks they've taken just to reach this place. Now they're near changing destiny. Though everything's gone awry, Malong has no will to surrender, uttering his spell as icy spears rage his way. Shin, stunned and cold, works from within, struggling to escape the grasp of the ice. Malong pours his soul into the chant, ice nearly upon him, as Si-chen bursts free with lightning, whisking him away, stunning the Frost King. Sen rushes Malong out of danger, and Malong, astonished, marvels that Sichchen managed to free himself. Yet Secchen assures him he made great difference, asks of Malong's wounds, and Malong reports the bleeding stopped, warning they cannot let the Frost King freeze them once more. At that instant, Si-chan glimpses the beast crafting a gigantic icy orb that sends shivers through Malong. Malong cries out in terror, demanding how the monster can wield such force, panicking about how to sidestep it. The Frost King does not hesitate and hurls the bomb, striking the duo. The blast is enormous, prompting the beast to believe it has finished them. When the icy haze fades, the pair show themselves miraculously unscathed. It is revealed Si-chan summoned the Infernal Death King, another cloud class, to counter the Frost King's might. Both Malong and the Frost King are shocked by Si-chan's altered presence, which comes as a surprise. Malong questions Si-chan, wondering how a lightning assassin gained this ability. It suddenly strikes Malong that Sichchen could belong to the rarest dual-class Awakeners. Just then, Shin sheds his current form for Rakshasa and says to Malong that his calculation nearly doomed them all. As Secchen completes the Rakshasa transformation, he proclaims the battle is already decided. Malong is nearly overwhelmed at the sight, knowing full well the stakes behind the transformation. Typically, an Awakener only inherits one class by nature. But just once in 10 million, someone awakens two classes. These extraordinary few are dual-class Awakeners. Worldwide, merely 10 are recognized. their talents fiercely contested by every major raid guild. Yet Si-chan exhibits not just one or two but at least 3 classes that astound Malong, while Si-chen elevates his powers to finish the Frost King instantly. Once Si-chan feels prime, he dashes at the Frost King, sword blazing with immense energy. Malong perceives the threat aura of the monster falter in comparison to Si-chan's current might. As the blade nears its mark, Si-chen calls forth the triple gravity strike, enough strength to split his foe in two. The creature's spirit fades away, leaving only a skeleton that collapses on the earth below. After slaying the Cave Lord, Si-chan gets 5,000 achievement points and achieves a new level. He claims an icebone spike among the spoils of victory. Malong praises him, saying he's quite remarkable for defeating a C-rank lord with just one blow. Shin reminds Malong that Yu and Zuo are still encased in ice and asks if he's able to free you both. Malong springs into action, realizing he completely overlooked the frozen pair. While Malong is gone, Si-chan receives the choice to consume the Frost King, which he accepts. Sen delights in gaining a new Cloud Mage class, marking his first time devouring a class outside dreams. Shin observes that the camera drone is frozen from the Frost King's earlier burst, assuring their powers remain secret since more time remains. Shin thinks their performance should be great and is surprised to earn a star for Lightning Assassin. Meanwhile, Ting's group reaches the boss, a floor mage. Yet the boss presents much more of a challenge than they anticipated. Though the team has the boss restrained, everyone is pushed to their absolute limits. The team's archer attempts all his tricks to penetrate the boss's defense, but none have an effect. They're tossed around by the boss's thick vines, and one yells that they have never faced such a powerful foe. Confusion sets in, until someone says their only option now is to bet everything on Ting. Ting, charged up by 2 mages, is the reason the group is able to subdue the monster so far. After Ting gathers the necessary energy, he vanishes in a flash, causing a thunderous blast behind. Moving with astonishing speed, Ting strikes before the Flora Mage can react, igniting his sword and burning the beast from within. Everyone cheers with excitement, praising Ting's strength and saying it's why he leads their guild. Thanks to beating the Flora Mage, the group is congratulated on completing the D-rank Demon Cave in just 35 minutes. Chang rejoices loudly, "No one will ever break our record of finishing a D-rank dungeon in half an hour." Their spirits soar knowing their 150 points mark a flawless score and set a school record. Even Ting is proud as all eagerly step out to check the rankings. Stepping outside, they boast that others need an hour for an F-rank cave when they've cleared a D-rank so quickly. Chung claims that anyone else leaving the cave now must have quit because they couldn't handle it. Walking through the waiting area, they encounter battered classmates, some still frightened after barely escaping alive. Suddenly, they spot Sen's team in the distance, and Chun instantly assumes they fled from fear. Yu and Zhu huddle beneath their blankets, sheltered from the biting cold that fills the air. While Malong and Shin enjoy hot coffee, Chun strides to Shin's group and taunts them for failing the test. Ting sees that Cheng's mockery might go too far, so he hurries him back. He quietly reminds Cheng that Carl is coming, and they should not forget to greet him properly. As Carl draws near, he's already clapping, praising the brilliant display he just witnessed. Chung nearly panics, well aware of Carl's power, and his approaching steps leave Chung's legs trembling. Ting offers a handshake, but Carl brushes right past, though leaving Ting awkwardly ignored. Going up to Si-chen, Carl praises him warmly, saying that he is truly exceptional. Ting is left puzzled until she hears Carl commend Si-chen for clearing the cave in just 21 minutes. Carl remarks that such a feat would challenge even the most professional raiding guilds. Chung cries out in astonishment after hearing Si-chen's record-breaking time. Sechan and his team respectfully greet Carl. Si-chan knows Carl by reputation, acknowledging that Carl is now perhaps the world's second most powerful person. Yet he wonders why Carl has come here at all. Carl then asserts that visiting the school was truly worthwhile. Carl soon recalls and praises young Ting for bravely leading a team to clear a D-rank demon lair, and commends his mentor Lin. Lin accepts the praise with grace, though inside he's bothered that someone outdid his son. Carl then announces he must be leaving soon, since it's already getting late. Carl teases Long, saying he struck gold, as it's rare to find such gifted youths gathered in one year. Next, he explains there is a tie for the championship, so all will be welcomed as new Empire Guild members. Malong and his companions leap with happiness at receiving this prized chance to climb the ranks. Ting's supporters celebrate too, but Ting and Sichchen keep their composure amid the excitement. Huan then notes that Ting and Sichen must split the 1 million MVP prize money evenly. Hearing this, Sichchen worries, having promised Z 1 million in a month, deciding to seek 500,000 more right away. Abruptly, Ting asserts there should be only one winner and calls out for a tie-breaking duel with Sichen. Ting's challenge surprises all, and it even makes Carl, on his way out, turn back in stunned curiosity. Huan quietly approaches Ting, asking why he's acting impulsive when the test has ended. He shares his view that tying for first is ideal and doesn't believe Sichen would agree to another match. Right then, Sichen astonishes everyone by proposing to Ting, "Would you give up all 1 million if I win?" Ting reacts in disbelief but vows to give the entire prize if Sichen defeats him. Carla is amused, realizing the contest isn't over yet. Shen strides over, asking Ting how he'd like to resolve the tie. After this, Sichen heads to Mythal Exchange for a chat with Z about the loan repayment. Z comments that he hadn't thought Sichen would break the record, though he expected him to win. Z says Sichen is making headlines everywhere and praises his choice. He then insists Sichen keep the 1.5 million, calling it an investment. Yet Sichen declines, insisting a loan must be repaid no matter what. Shen tells Z that he's there for 2 reasons, starting with the loan deadline. Sichchen requests a 1-week grace, explaining the assessment ended in a draw so his winnings were just 500,000. Sichchen explains he'll face Ting, the other winner, for a tiebreaker a week later in the demon cave near school. Z is stunned as letting students into a demon cave is unheard of. He notes neither are guild trained, so it's risky. Sichen solves his fears, pledging that after he wins, Z will receive the remaining 500,000. Additionally, Sichen assures Z that all cave treasures will go to him as extra yield for granting the extension. Z is taken aback by Sichen's composed courage concerning the cave. He's focused only on paying what he owes, proving himself special. With that, Sichen tells Z there's one more matter of great importance to discuss. Hearing it all, Z is left at a loss, utterly shaken by Sichen's words. The shock even compels Z to rise up out of his chair. Later, at Yun's school, she's delighted to end finals as the start of her summer break arrives. Suddenly, she recalls that today is her brother's graduation test. She remembers when Sichen first got his acceptance letter. Their joy was boundless. Shen aimed to join a great guild to take care of Yun, hoping to secure her a brighter future. He also hoped the chance would lead him to learn why their parents vanished. Yun encourages her brother, convinced he'll become an amazing awakener one day. However, Shen failed to awaken, and both their early ambitions faded over time. Despite this setback, Sichen remains undaunted, promising Yun he'll keep striving to make a living. After enrolling at the university, Sechun worked the hardest, yet in the end was the only one who didn't awaken. Yun thinks her brother must have felt alone, being the only one left unawakened among them all. Lost in her thoughts, Yun is jolted back as her friend bumps her and asks if she knows about the 2 genius grads. She tells Yun that these prodigies led flawless teams, attracting Carl's praise, and their city will soon be on the map. The friend turns to ask about Yun's brother, but their conversation is interrupted by the pink-haired school idol. He tells Yun he reserved the penthouse at the Ziyang building, wanting her there by 8:00 p.m. Yun's friend appears stunned, realizing Yun knows the school idol, but Yun says nothing and soon dashes off. Running away, Yun keeps thinking about the sorrow her brother must feel being the one left behind. She heads home, planning a special meal to lift his mood. That evening, Shen returns, surprised by Yun's banquet and questions how she managed it all. Wasting no time, Shen dives into the food, sampling every dish Yun lovingly prepared. As Yun serves him, the TV in the background runs news about the graduation combat assessment. While the broadcast continues, Sichen cheerfully enjoys the delicious spread without a care in the world. Yun suspects her brother is putting on a brave face. She knows that failing the assessment would devastate anyone, yet he seems unfazed. The TV anchor reveals the unusual double champion result from this year's ceremony. The anchor describes Carl's accolades for the two brilliant students and prepares to state their names. Just then, Yun hears them mention her brother's name. She whirls around, unwilling to believe it. She stares at the screen, realizing it is true. The perfect scorer is none other than her own brother. At the same time, Lin furiously punishes his son for failing, despite all Lin's efforts. He tells his son that he'd even brought Carl as a guest, but everything got ruined and a new candidate stole the show. Lin is utterly enraged his son lost to an unknown, and his furious punishment leaves his son injured. Lin declares Ting won't choose anything from now on and reveals the tiebreaker has already been scheduled for a week's time. Lin insists he'll handle the tiebreaker himself, since his son was unable to do so. Confidently, Lin asserts that the top spot is destined for the Gong family, exposing their ruthless ambition. Back at home, Yun turns to her brother in disbelief, asking if he's really the person the news praises. Shin nonchalantly confirms, asking her if that fact should really matter to her so much. In shock, Yun drops her spoon, struggling to accept that her own brother is the center of attention now. Yun is astonished to hear that Si-Chen earned praise from the Guild Alliance's vice chairman. Tears stream from her eyes as her brother, once lost and low, has finally claimed glory at the summit. Meanwhile, Carl is having a meeting with Ling Yu, whom he affectionately calls Kite. He inquires about her findings, and she explains what she has learned about the Devourer over the last year. She mentions to Carl that Shin's strength suddenly soared recently, which is quite peculiar. When Sichjin finally falls asleep, he returns to the dream world, ready for another attempt at the tower, having spent more than 2 weeks clearing the first floor close to entirely. He's grown used to battling under 10 times normal gravity. After passing the graduation test, his lightning assassin role gained another star. He then learns that using a single class often builds mastery, so his 4 classes all still have room to grow. His newly acquired star was used to increase his speed, which is vital for any assassin, and now this stat alone brings him up to an A-rank assassin's speed. But this improvement still hasn't helped him defeat the first floor's lord yet. The Lion King's skills are odd. Anytime he spots a weakness and acts, the king shifts away instantly, reappearing with a distant lioness. The lionesses continually adjust positions, always keeping 2 in close combat with Sichjin and 2 waiting further back, maintaining their pattern. Furthermore, the Lion King stays as far from Sichjin as possible, never engaging personally. Curiosity stirs in Si-Chan about the Lion King's class. One lioness hurtles at him, yet when he swings to slash, she simply disappears right at the strike point. The lionesses retreat to the Lion King's side, and immediately a new one lunges at him to lure an attack. They persist in this tactic, defending their arrangement perfectly so there's never an opening. Again and again, they rush him yet evade his strikes, trapping him in a relentless struggle. Si-Chan gets frustrated by the Lion King's games until he realizes he's foolishly racing the monster's speed when he could switch tactics. He jumps into the air, adopting the Skeleton Frost King class, hoping to use his mage powers since facing the Lion King head-on goes nowhere. Sichjin sends icy spikes crashing down, driving the beasts to gather near their king for protection. Everyone knows mages are weak up close but shine in distant combat, and controlling multiple foes at once. A barrage of ice spikes pins the beasts together, a trap Sich cunningly set for them. When they're just where he wants, Si-Chan conjures a colossal iceberg burst bomb that makes the Lion King panic, seeing no way to flee. Once he hurls the bomb, it strikes and erupts in a mighty blast. This stuns all the creatures in place, including the bothersome Lion King. Once the Lion King is immobilized, Si-Chen changes to Rakshasa and lands a powerful blow, cleaving the Lion King. After toppling the Lion King, the other lionesses dissolve and Si-Chen leaps from level 16 straight to 24. He collects 4 shards of Phantom Spirit Lion bone and a heart from the Phantom Spirit Lion. The system tells him he can absorb the Lion King, so Si-Chen quickly does so out of curiosity for its class. Si-Chen consumes the entire essence, and as it refines into a power card, he learns the lion's true class. It owns 2 abilities, Astral Spirit Pact and Astral Orbit Jump. The pact can force bonds with beasts with the chance higher if the user can frighten them strongly. If the owner dies, the contracted beast also falls. With orbit jump, Mana lets them travel to each other instantly. Si-Chen is taken aback as this marks his first encounter with the Beastmaster class. He finally understands why the Lion King avoided a direct fight. Its powers weren't great, so it relied on beasts. Still, Si-Chen confesses that the teleportation skill is actually very versatile. In addition, forging forced contracts needs a strong presence, making Si-Chen see he must act harshly if he wants this path. At that moment, the surroundings shift to desert landscape, and Si-Chen recognizes the true form of the first floor. This has him thinking about what events could have happened before. Soon enough, the portal leading to the second floor emerges in front of him. Just as he intends to exit, an unfamiliar presence makes itself known behind him. Turning around, he discovers a lion cub shackled inside a bony cage. Si-Chen is surprised a lion cub still remains. Drawing a blade of lightning, he readies himself to strike. Then he realizes the Lion King is gone, but the cub lingers, meaning it was never contracted to the Lion King. He spots spiritual chains binding the cub, realizing it was jailed by the phantom spirit Lion King. Si-Chen brings his weapon down towards the cub. Rather than harming it, he severs its bindings and grants the cub freedom. Si-Chen feels sorry for the little lion, as it surely has lost its kin and is all alone, which is heartbreaking. Si-Chen tells it may stay isolated but must continue living on, and as he nears the door, he receives a contract offer from the cub. The system confirms a 100% bond chance. The cub has two passive skills, one enhances attributes and splits EXP, the other lets the user view through its eyes if it's in peril. Si-Chen spins around in surprise, never expecting a contract with the beast, Lion King Leo, to be possible. Si-Chen asks Leo if it wishes to join him, and Leo answers with a roar that says yes. Si-Chen warns Leo that from this point forward, they'll be conquering floors in Devil Tower where each step is perilous. Si-Chen tells Leo that it could even die and asks if it's sure. Leo assures him again with a roar. Accepting this, Si-Chen finalizes the pact, which is completed successfully. Afterward, Si-Chen informs Leo that they are about to leave for the second floor. Shen urges Leo to keep safe while he fights, and Leo agrees to do so. Stepping onto the second floor, they find themselves on a level flooded with lava that radiates intense heat. Even Sech-Chen feels the searing warmth, remarking that it's so hot he could melt. Sen contemplates which creature he'll face next on this fiery level. Suddenly, an unforeseen strike lands, and before Sen can react, it makes a gaping wound in his chest and he falls dead. Sech-Chen awakens in terror, his hand instinctively at his chest as dread courses through him. Si-Chen is shocked that he died instantly, without even glimpsing the monster he was fighting. As he ponders this, his sister's voice calls him for breakfast, urging him to come eat. Sech-Chen goes to the dining room and is amazed by the splendid spread his sister made. Yun gets ready to leave, telling Si-Chen to do the dishes after eating and hang the washed clothes in 30 minutes. Si-Chen, surprised, asks Yun why she's in such a hurry since summer vacation has started. Yun shares that she's going to her summer job, which surprises Chen since he thought they were doing well now. Yun smiles, telling Chen he's advanced so she must keep up, and staying home all summer would just be boring for her. Before Chen can respond, she rushes away while reminding him about the laundry in the machine. After Yun leaves, Si-Chen cheerfully does the chores, knowing his sister has always shown such tenacity. Even as a kid, she treats her older brother like he's a child who needs caring for. Shin realizes that once his school issues end, he'll have to face more tribulations, leaving less time with Yun. He grows anxious for Yun's sake, and suddenly an idea strikes him, compelling him to try it out. He accesses his mind's domain, uses his inventory to let Leo come out, marveling at summoning a dream contract beast. Leo immediately acts wild, overturning the room in no time. Realizing this, Sech-Chen thinks Leo can follow Yun, alerting him to any danger she faces so he can rush to help. Yun adored cats and dogs as a little one, and Shin feels sure she'd easily accept a small lion. Before he even realizes, Leo has wrecked the whole house, making a disaster of the kitchen too. That night, an awakened man battles a lurking threat, which also possesses the consuming skill. The awakened is instantly overwhelmed. Before dying, he glimpses the Demon King, likely Lanu. Elsewhere, Yun leaves her job, weary and drained from standing on her feet the entire day. While she walks through a street, she encounters someone who leaves her utterly shocked. She recognizes the figure as her pink-haired school idol Jin Duxin, who once invited her out. Duxin says Yun rushed out of school last time, missing his invitation, but he can still reserve a huge venue tonight, though Yun already feels revulsion for him. She questions just how he even learned that she lived in the area. Duxin proudly says his father runs the main hospital, so finding Yun's address was no trouble at all. Yun tells Duxin bluntly to never search for her again, as they belong to entirely different worlds. Angered, Duxin grabs Yun, saying she doesn't appreciate all his trouble and claims she'd insult him by not coming. Yun looks at him and asks why she owes him any courtesy, saying it was creepy for him to stalk her. Duxin exclaims, demanding to know why she thinks that. Duxin insists he's only being considerate, but Yun is simply rejecting all his kindness. He then shouts that he could easily control her in moments, angering Yun enough to strike him with a headbutt. Collapsed in pain, Duxin hears Yun tell him to have his mind examined at his father's hospital, since it's clear something is off. Yun storms away angrily, ordering him to stay out of her life. Once Yun gets home, she instantly adores Leo. She showers Leo with affection, calling him a cute, magical creature. Shin announces that the beast is called Leo and Yun will now raise him. The idea of caring for a lion cub amazes her. Yun remarks in wonder about Leo's thick mane, surprised since she thought only grown lions had them. Undeterred, she is eager to get a magical beast license to make Leo's registration official. Scene is pleased Yun is glad to care for Leo, confident she'll be safe now. At that moment, he receives an official email. His guild application has finally been approved. Si-chan is delighted, thinking his plan works out perfectly, and next up is winning a tiebreaker scheduled in 6 days. 6 days later, challenge day comes. The event will happen deep within the Green Light Forest. Juin mentions that after a thorough discussion, the school board has decided that the assessment will take place in the Green Light Forest, and it has been determined that the Demon Cave is D rank. He mentions that Sichjin and Ting will be assessed within the same Demon Cave. Because the internal environment of a wild demon's cave is unknown, the risks are higher than those in the caves used for school assessments. Because of this, they have dispatched 3 senior guild raid team members from the Donson Nation to serve as examiners who will also accompany them. The 3 are going to follow the candidates into the cave, and their job is not just to provide protection, but also to score them in real time based on their performance. The white-haired examiner is Ivan, and he is a C-rank Flora chanter. The dude with a hat is Kalu, and he is a nuclear shooter. The fatso is Udisado, and he is a C-rank star warrior. Juan mentions that the final results will be determined by the scores given by the examiners. Meanwhile, Lin is watching and he smiles because he has put everything in place for his son, and he can only hope that the 3 examiners perform their duties well. Long then asks Carl why he is still in the country even though his vacation ended 2 days ago. Carl tells Long that the match between Shin and Ting is pretty interesting and cannot be missed. He mentions that he hasn't witnessed a duel between geniuses in many years, which is something he looks forward to. Just then, Jan declares the match open and the 2 step into the demon cave. Upon entering, the examiners realize that it is a Florape demon cave. Suddenly, Si-chan receives a danger warning from the demon heart, telling him that a high-risk monster has been detected. Sichjin is shocked since this is the first time the demon heart has issued a warning to him. However, the warning vanishes quickly, too, leaving him to wonder if there is a high-level monster inside a D-rank demon lair. The 2 continue venturing deep into the lair with the examiners watching from behind. The examiners make sure to stay within range to make sure they don't lose sight of the candidates thanks to the thick fog. Suddenly, a D-rank toxic cage ant emerges from the ground, and Ting reacts to this instantly. S is impressed by his reaction speed, but he wants to see how he is going to deal with the ant since they are known to be ruthless and deadly. The ant shoots corrosive liquid at Ting, but he cuts everything down before reaching the ant and delivers a powerful cut to slice it in half. Ting doesn't stop there and he makes sure to puncture the monster's heart with his fiery blade, thus incinerating the monster. Tingora farms just because he manages to kill an ant, and the examiners start dishing out points for him because he reacted so fast to the ant's presence. The trio each awards Ting 10 points, claiming that he displayed exceptional action for someone who is just a student. On the other hand, Sech-chen is strolling around, acting as if Ting didn't just kill a monster. The judges are already dismissing his chances because he didn't respond to the ant monster's threat. Yet Ting is curious about his quest. Even Carl asks Long's opinion, and Long believes Sech-chen seeks a path to a quick high score. Exactly as he foresaw, Sech-chen locates the ant's lair and swiftly agitates it with his electric blade, drawing the swarm out. The panel is stunned as Sech-chen fearlessly confronts the source of the monsters. They shout in alarm, warning that he's battling D-rank monsters and endangering everyone by disturbing the lair. Soon, Ting realizes Sech-chen's intentions, but it's too late. Sech-chen slays them all with one rapid, electrifying move. With a single blow, Sech-chen eradicates the ants, leaving the observers frozen in disbelief. Previously, they were told Sech-chen was E-rank, yet he just destroyed foes meant to be above his level. Witnessing this, they agree he's incredibly strong and have no idea how to evaluate such a feat. They begin seeking reasons to criticize him, but in the control room, Carl is in awe because Long's guess was spot on. Carl is so engaged that he snacks on chips, focusing intently on the evaluation. Carl exclaims over the spectacle and wonders how Ting will answer him. Seeing Carl praise Sen, Lin grows frustrated and clenches his fists. Suddenly, an alert sounds, startling everyone, as this is now the second occurrence. Outside, the overseeing official is stunned. The operating system malfunctions, indicating a critical problem. Without warning, the demon cave entrance disappears, leaving all the officials bewildered. Back in the dungeon, Sech-chen hears a familiar voice, Wrath. Outside, Wrath is furious, commands staff to call backup, and fears trouble in the lair. Inside, odd music starts playing, and Sech-chen recognizes Wrath's song, confused as Wrath shouldn't be here for 3 more years. Just then, the demon heart gives Sech-chen urgent alerts. Contamination has hit a critical level. Shen turns when he senses an unusual presence lurking in the cavern behind him. Suddenly, the cave emits a voice, making the examiners anxious. The mist dissipates, unveiling a massive ant beast with sword-like appendages stepping from the gloom. Unexpectedly, the monster speaks, declaring its satisfaction that the humans fell for its setup. Sadto is unsettled. A talking monster signals a C rank or higher, something entirely new. Sadto leaps forward to face the threat, warning Sech-chen and Ting to stay behind for safety. Sadto summons a mana axe, but before he grasps what's happening, the ant slices off his right hand. The rest panic when they see this. The creature pierces Ting's shoulder and ominously proclaims their doom. Ting snaps and with fury severs the arm lodged in his shoulder, leaving the ant monster stunned. He then lands a fierce kick, pushing the ant beast stumbling backward. Ting instructs Sech-chen to stay out, insisting the ant enemy by right belongs to him alone. Sech-chen agrees, checks the foe's rank, and confirms it's a C rank, just the same as Ting. The examiners hurry over, urging Sech-chen to relax and receive urgent medical help. Ting declines, instead sealing his own wound with scorching flames. Even Shen is struck by Ting's grit and boldness. Ting unleashes his fiery aura, looking furious as he insists the duel is still unresolved. Amped up, Ting rushes at the monster in a burst of relentless energy. Just then, Empire Guild Commander Lin Wuk appears, telling Zoan and others he suspects a clever creature inside. This beast may deliberately open dungeon doors as traps for unsuspecting humans. Huan asks Wuk what should be done as Ting remains trapped within the dungeon. Wuk explains the only option is for those inside to defeat the lair's head monster. Xuan feels reassured, thinking a D-rank dungeon supports only a C-rank lord so they could manage it. But Wuk tells him the whole D-rank appearance was merely a trick set by the monster lord. He adds the demon lair's monster is likely tied to the missing novice Awakeners they've been seeking. Wuk warns Xuan that, in truth, everyone inside faces peril. The dungeon is actually B rank or above. Deep in the dungeon, Ting clashes fiercely with the ant monster. The ant lashes out with mighty arms, but Ting evades every attack due to his swift instincts. During the fight, Ting finds a chance and swiftly decapitates the creature. After Ting's victory, the examiners are amazed he could defeat the dungeon beast alone. They commend Ting, saying his abilities are truly remarkable. While Ting battled, Ivan was already tending to the wound on Sado's arm. Suddenly, so realizing realizes their connection to the outside has completely vanished. The examiners panic as the compass stops working and all signs of direction are lost. To make matters worse, the camera drone has been offline for almost 2 hours now. Suddenly, the ant creature rises and rushes at Ting. He senses danger, but it's too late. Together, as the monster moves to attack him, Si-Chen intervenes, defeating it and earning 2,000 experience points. Ting stands stunned, realizing he beheaded the creature, yet it continues to move. Shin explains to Ting that the monster was never this dungeon's master. It was hypnotized, making movement possible even in death. While explaining, Si-Chen already has his earbuds in and urges everyone to leave or they'll fall under the monster's spell. Ting asks how Si-Chen knows so much, as even the examiners insist the ant is ranked C. They argue there's no way a C-rank ant monster isn't the ruler of the dungeon. Suddenly, Si-Chan's demon heart fills with alerts about a dangerous foe nearby. The music grows intense, and all but Si-Chan soon slip into hypnosis. Si-Chen knows it's already late, but being familiar with the sound, he is already prepared. In another lifetime, Wrath used this sound to control and wipe out many across the world. Si-Chen watches 4 heading to the cave, deducing the dungeon lord is allied with Wrath. Si-Chen feigns being hypnotized, following too, eager to see who this lord is. They soon find a bizarre monster on a throne, guarded by immense serpents at the cave's end. All around are ant eggs, scattered weapons and bones of the monster's fallen victims. Si-Chen is unsurprised by the use of alpha sound waves. He foresaw this and countered with beta waves. Knowing the others might die from hypnosis, Si-Chen plans to defeat the dungeon's lord as soon as possible. The monstrous boss already salivates, eager for the feast of human flesh ahead. In a memory, young Ting defeated his brother Cheng at 8, covered in bruises and blood. Their father watched without concern, unfazed by their battered state. Afterward, he tells Ting to join him for a meal, leaving Cheng kneeling alone overnight. That night, Cheng's hunger persisted, relieved only when Ting snuck in bread for him. Cheng is amazed and warns Ting he'll be punished if their father discovers this. Ting urges him to stay quiet and eat instead. Just as he feared, their father found out and harshly punished Ting. He beats him harshly in his chamber, declaring the Gong family's supremacy comes from constant victories. He informs Ting that only winners have the privilege to create rules. Lin tells his son that since he's not a winner now, he must obey, but Ting sneers, asking if he'll rule after beating him. Lin grins at Ting's words, then arranges a duel between Ting and Wuk. Wuk defeats him instantly with a single blow, splintering his sword. Ting falls hard, blood on his lips, protesting to his father that he wished to challenge him, not Wuk. Lin then explains that his might lies not in fighting skill, but in the decisive power he wields. He tells Ting that life's rules aren't simple, but one thing remains: triumph is absolute. He states the method doesn't matter, only the outcome does. As his son, Ting must always aim for the highest. He instructs Ting to secure victory at any cost, as winning is his purpose. Ting starts to wonder if winning is truly his sole reason to be. Back to now, Chen heads toward the dungeon lord, but Ting quietly grabs him, urging him to stay calm. Ting confides to Si-Chan that despite not knowing why he resisted hypnosis, he did so through self-inflicted pain, reopening his wound to snap free. Ting cautions Si-Chen that acting hastily would put everyone at grave risk. He gestures to the ant eggs, warning Shen that disturbing them would unleash a swarm of C-rank monsters. Ting scans the area, realizing the dungeon lord masqueraded the dungeon's rank to ensnare and drain Awakeners. Ting insists they should stay still and let the boss creature come closer on its own terms. He proposes they hide and strike the boss once it approaches. Shen appreciates Ting's cleverness, but tells him the boss needs no effort to destroy their allies. At this, the music swells and Sadto with the others ready their weapons, preparing to take their own lives. Before they can act, Si-Chen uses lightning to knock them out, halting their plans. The boss monster is startled to find its scheme has been foiled. Furious, the boss commands the insects within the eggs to emerge. Every egg bursts open, revealing C-rank bugs just as feared. It commands them to hunt Se-Chen and the group. Ting bravely steps ahead, urging Si-Chen to get the others to safety while he will stall the monsters alone. Shen is astonished to see Ting's willingness to sacrifice himself, something he never imagined. Ting informs Si-Chen he may not defeat all the insects, but he can hold them off for a while. When a bug leaps at them, Ting fends it off with a blazing sword, admitting he caused the situation by seeking a tie break. Despite his serious wounds, Ting stands ready to risk everything so the others can escape the cavern. He explains to Si-Chen that, since he started things, he should be the one to resolve them. At that moment, Si-Chen approaches fearlessly, transforming into the lightning assassin form. Bolts surround him as he summons his lightning sword, telling Ting he was part of the decision and shares fault. Ting is stunned by the power surging in Si-Chen.